Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce, from my hometown, Carlos Francisco López Ramírez, a programmer and 3D designer at the Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Mexico, and Jesús Gerardo Medina Sánchez, who is a 3D designer for the Museo Virtual Anáhuac. They are here today to discuss their program, MUVIAN, Digital Innovations for the Historical Reconstruction of the Basin of Mexico. Welcome.
Sure. Hello, I'm going to talk about our project. Its goal is to reconstruct the most comprehensive 3D model of the Basin of Mexico. Archaeological and historical knowledge is spread out, divided even by time, and well, we humans are very visual creatures. If we see a graphic, it's much more easier and quicker to understand. So we want to make a collection of every archaeological finding we can in an area that encompasses today's Mexico City, the ancient lakes of Mexico, to also to help people and even researchers themselves to better understand the relationship about every isolated register recording that there exists. This project is to unify knowledge in a much more comprehensive way. We decided to use a game engine, Unreal Engine, because it enables us to visualize real-time graphics in virtual reality. In our opinion, the most effective way to visit a historical site. You can feel the scale. It also provokes many emotions. Any knowledge that that we can relate with a certain emotion, it's much more easily remembered. So it's a more effective medium to transmit. And game engines nowadays are modern enough and mature enough to make derivatives of the project to more traditional channels, like, for example, media for TV documentaries, for television, and actually it has been, for museum exhibitions, for mobile applications, web applications, desktop applications. It's very flexible, and it can have excuse me, derivatives that we didn't even originally thought of. For example, we worked with an opera company to produce a show about Aztec emperors. There has been the two of them, and a third one is coming. We couldn't imagine that, and game engines are flexible enough for that. This project could be enjoyed by a variety of people, from small children, preschool children, to PhDs. Everyone enjoys them. Teenagers who game a lot, people who has never touched a video game before. Every kind of person has enjoyed this. Government officials, researchers, common population, gamers. In the center, it was like a gaming convention. Everyone enjoyed it. So this is a very effective method. Our area to reconstruct is 1 degree by 1 degree of the Earth. Down there in Mexico City, it would be like approximately 110 kilometers by 110 kilometers. It includes the ancient lakes in Mexico. They call it Mexican Valley, but in reality it's a basin, an endorheic basin. There used to exist 5 lakes: Xaltocan, Zumpango, Texcoco, Xochimilco, and Chalco. They are very related to the history of Mexico City, its identity too. This area also encompasses the whole metropolitan area of contemporary Mexico City. And we use, for easiness of, and to take advantage of technical aspects, we use the Mercator projection. There in Mexico, we are at 20 degrees of altitude, latitude. So it's not that deformed down there. We are centering right now, in these years, in the 16th century version. The main city was the capital of the Aztec Empire, Tenochtitlan, its sister city, Tlatelolco. But also, we don't want to stay there and be like, if you Americans say Eurocentric, we in Mexico can say Chilangocentric, centered in Mexico City's culture. Many people don't identify with that. So we want to recreate every population of the Mexican basin. Many were important centers of commerce and food production. For example, right now you are seeing cities in the southern side of the Texcoco Lake, the biggest, Iztapalapa and Mexicalcingo. These are the southern lakes of Xochimilco and Chalco. Another area we worked on is the Cerro de Estrella volcano. At the top, there's a temple. These are the ones we have worked on, but we have a long way to go. The final goal will be 700 years of evolution. Right now, I'm only showing the 16th century version. There's a smaller 18th century version and an early 20th century version, but much more smaller in scale. Mexico City's past and still present and identity is very linked with the aquatic way of life. Native Americans didn't have draft animals, so canoes were the most effective transport to haul loads. A human can easily load 2 tons of cargo instead of 60 kilograms in his back. So canoes were the most effective way of transportation. So ancient life for ancient Mexican basins city people was very linked with an aquatic way of life. Also because there was a technology called the chinampa that consists of gaining land to what used to be water or digging into the mainland to get nutrient-rich soil and very, very productive agricultural lands. You are seeing an example, a visualization we made of Iztapalapa chinampas, based on codexes. And now I'm going to talk about our historical reconstruction process. First, we download the GIS data. There's already many things we can find, rain patterns, vegetation. And then we look for every source we can find, archaeological registers, codices, Spanish accounts, paintings or old photographs, everything we can find. And the most direct ones are archaeological registers. We geolocalize them. We are seeing 3 examples. Here is Iztapalapa, here is Mexicalcingo, here is Culhuacan. If you zoom in, you can see the archaeological evidence. Another step we have, because many archaeological remains were destroyed by urbanization in the 20th century. Much of the Mexico City, the pre-Hispanic past, was preserved until the early 20th century because the city didn't really grow up. It stayed the same size in the after conquest period, the colonial period, and even the first century of Mexican independence. But then with urbanization, they destroyed many remains. For that, we have another technique. Since most of the archaeological remains were preserved, we can still use colonial 19th century maps. We use them to help us visualize what it used to be in the 16th century. The Mexican basin population peaked in the 16th century. It didn't really recover after the conquest until the mid-20th century. So many things remained untouched. The lakes were intact. So we can infer, helped with more modern maps, what it could look like in the 16th century and fill the gaps to where the archaeological remains are destroyed or lost. Another technique, just interpretation of texts. This is based entirely around Hernán Cortés' words, because even in the 19th century they found this, but archaeology was still in its infancy, so they didn't make a real archaeological survey. This word was lost. Only the general area where they located this, we still know. But taking Hernán Cortés' words, we can reconstruct the buildings like this. He said in Iztapalapa, there were a number of pools in a palatial zone. Each pool could contain brackish or fresh water with its corresponding flora and fauna. Each side, they were square shape, with each side measuring around 400 steps, with stairs going down to the bottom of the pool, and it was a palace zone, a palatial zone. And there's a small codex illustration, so it also helped. Yep, here's another example of codexes helping us reconstruct and using imagination. Houses, dwellings. These were more for the common people, based on the Florentino Codex. And now it's your turn. The videos are...
Yo que no sé hablar. I'm going to talk about our most urgent challenges or difficulties in the project. Challenger 1, data verification. In the case of Ceremonial Center, based on the research of archaeologist José Álvaro Barrera Rivera, who worked in the Urban Archaeology Program and current works at the Templo Mayor archaeology sites. Como dices, archaeology sites. Then the discoveries from over a century, separated by the different states in which they were found, have been brought together. This has led to the identification of more than 2/3 of the 78 buildings that Fray Bernardo de Sahagún mentioned existed. Technological challenger update to Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5. The most significant challenger is the rapid advance of technology and the release of new versions with improved features in development software, with little documentation on implementation. Some of the new features, such as Nanite or Lumen, promise a hyper-realistic view in the projects, but they pose a major challenge until implemented because are not compatible with the workflow into Unreal Engine 4. Since the process geometry, lighting, and materials differently, I can cause the engine to slow down or not work, which means constant testing, increased development time to alter workflows and cloud discontinue without amount. In this video, we see the way Teocalli in AutoCAD, created by Álvaro Barrera more than 10 years ago, which we migrate to Blender in STL format using colors as exporting to FBX in the latest version to AutoCAD was discontinued. In this video, observe the workflow in Blender to review and prepare the geometry for migration to Unreal Engine 5. Voy adelante un poquito para que no se tarde mucho. Creo que sí. No se puede usar. Y ahora in this other video, you can see the test of the new way to implement terrains in Unreal Engine 5. ¿Cómo se dice Khaled? Called Word Partition applied Nanite, a new features of Unreal Engine 5 that allows for easy processing of millions of polygons, optimizing the rendering process. You see the processing Nanite is very interesting new technology. I can make millions and millions and more sculpting. Unreal Engine support have problems and requires much have good machines. Es el problema, pero podremos podremos meter cualquier geometría en el futuro.
We can put any complicated geometry we can, and it just runs. We don't have to make LODs or those techniques of yesterday. The problem is the meshes are very big, so we still have to reduce them, reduce the poly count to reduce the final file size.
In this video, we observe a necessary test for the project update to Unreal Engine 5, we procedural nanite grass was implemented. You can see 12,000 kilómetros cuadrados.
12,000 square kilometers.
It's processing nanite and no problem. It's very, very quickly in the implementation. Here is the página web, the web page, to see the renders, 360 renders. I'm going to the
Sorry.
Ah, sí, es ORG. Que estaba mal ahí, lo puse mal.
Sí, pero ya.
Perdón, es ORG. ¿Cuál puse yo?
Com.
Sí, le puse .com. No,
Our web it's .org, not .com.
it's org.
Yeah, our web.
I make the... Híjole, no lo agarro. Ah, sí, cierto.
Yeah.
Muy bien, gracias. Research. You see the comparison, the actuality to the historical pictures. And have your information down. In other part, Anáhuac maps is in this place we see renders 316 and make application 360 your localization relation with the renders.
We are working in a Google Maps like app, but it will be historical. You will see a map, but it only will work around in Mexico City, but you will see markers. If you get near one of them, you will see an indicator, oh, there's a 360 view. So like Google Street View, but historical. It will be called Anáhuac Maps. Soon it will be available for Android and iPhone.
Tlaltecutli. Have your explication here. And move in the other renders with the symbols to go. And this is the Tlacoscalco, el juego de pelota. Es todo.
Our collaborators, I am like a kind of polymath. My code, I make 3D graphics, my own historical research. he's also kind of he's a coder. He is porting this in the new Unreal Engine 5 version. Our team member, who unfortunately couldn't arrive, come because of problems with his visa. He's a historian. We have another collaborator. He's much older. He started creating maps about the Basin of Mexico since 1985. He's Thomas Filzinger. A classic, his work. The two archaeologists, the one who has worked the most with the ceremonial center, Álvaro Barrera, and for the Temple of the New Fire, Jesús Sánchez, the collaborators of the project. Huh?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm not even really sure where to start now. I tried it, we both tested it out.
Yeah,
and
I'm kind of speechless right now. So.
Yeah, I guess one of my first questions was, could you talk a little bit about the time that it took to build this? Because how many sites are there that you can kind of explore right now?
Yeah, well, like 30 points of view, but well, you could be in more. It's only just because we put in schools and just those points were decided. But well, there are collaborators. I started the grandfather of this project as a game of the Mexican Revolution. That's why I started working with Mexico City. That was back in 2010. Our older collaborator, Thomas Filzinger, he has been working on these maps since, well, 38 years, 39 years, almost. Álvaro Barrera, the archaeologist, he's a little, like 10 years younger, so maybe 25 years he's been working on this.
Years.
Or 40.
14.
Oh, no, yeah. Jesús Sánchez also, yeah, like 40 years. Edgar, the historian, he started in 2017, and he's our youngest member. 3 years. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, a combination of research and works. That's directly this project as a virtual museum of the Anáhuac was born in 2017. Yeah.
Okay.
But with a lot of previous work.
I have a question. We talked a little bit about this before your presentation. When I was doing my PhD, the way we approached a lot of the colonial texts was with a great degree of distrust, sort of worried about a very Eurocentric vision that arrives to the Americas and sees the Americas through the lenses of Europe and not as factual observation. Did you have any challenges like that? Meaning that you saw in a CODIS or in, let's say, in Cortés or in Bernaldía de las Casas or someone like that, that you saw one thing, you read one thing, and the evidence proved to be another? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, did you have any challenges in getting factual information for some things? Could you have any examples of difficulties in deciding should this be X or should this be Y?
We are focused much more in the physical place, the buildings, the architecture. So the evidence is there. There's no problem validating it. If we studied the culture or some other things, maybe we could get into those dilemmas. But it's just the archaeological and geographic. Well, many like to paint the ancient Basin of Mexico as a very beautiful place. Yeah, sure it was, but maybe, for example, some areas weren't as nice. Some a neighborhood, it's now what name I think it's Moyotlan. It's called a place where there are a lot of mosquitoes. So that's. But that was the reality. In a lake, some water that is
standing,
not flowing, can get like that. So that would be the closest example, because some people try to idealize Mexico City. Regarding the anti-indigenous, pro-Hispanic view, not really. We haven't encountered that conflict.
Do you have? Can I ask another one? My other question. I saw the image, and you mentioned this a little bit already, but I saw the image of the children with the VR sets, and I was just remembering when I was a child in Mexico, seeing the pyramids was always like this. I wanted time travel to exist so I could go back and see what they really were like. So can you explain a little bit the differences between this project when you presented before PhDs or academics versus when you presented before children or younger people or gamers, or the different audiences, what the reaction has been to the same game?
I treat everybody the same, even if they are small children. Well, maybe with not very complicated words, like I don't use the Basin of Mexico. I said, a place where the water can't get out, so lakes are formed. But in the essence, I treat everybody the same, and response is always positive.
Can you talk a little bit about the creative decisions, the music, kind of the energy of the space once you're into it? How did those kind of decisions get made?
Well, yeah, discussions are inevitable. Yeah, for example, for the opera, there are creative differences, but what would be the answer?
Where did you get the music from? La música, ¿quién la hizo?
Oh no, we know a very good artist. He's not directly in the team, but he's always available whenever we commission a project. So, yeah.
Did he do the music? And he did the music?
Yeah, but depending on what we are delivering, there's a special clip for that. Right now, there's just a general clip, a general use, but for this museum or this documentary, we commissioned him, or whoever hires us puts the sound. We don't have sound producing capabilities, yeah, but many people do. So.
And is the music you're using, is it a historic recreation, or is it I don't know anything about pre-Columbian music, so is this a reconstruction, or is this just another independent piece?
Interpretations. There are no surviving musical records from ancient Mexico, only general descriptions like the teponazli, a kind of wooden drum, or whatever it's, I don't know, even in Spanish or Nahuatl, I don't know the name, but flutes, but there's no historical records, unfortunately. So it's a modern interpretation. I don't see any other way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What does the future of the project look like to you both? What is I guess the next level, or the next kind of iteration of the project?
Well, I have some ideas, like implementing a multiplayer service, so you can be inside the virtual world with the archaeologists. Oh, no, that would be awesome. Or complete the other epochs, 18th century, 19th century, and instead of being me talking about a 3D model, it would be a 4D model, where you can advance timeline from the 14th century to the 20th century. So yeah, it's a very ambitious project, lots of work to do, a long way to go.
And does that work through the museum that you all work together? Is that how it's commissioned through the museum? So they, because I think one of the big questions for everyone is always funding. And so how does something so expansive get funded this way?
Oh, yeah, from our own pocket money and from any commission we can get to any medium. It's how we get things going. It's not affiliated with any university or institution. It's completely our project. Huh?
Y publicar también, dile, y publicarlo ya para todo el mundo.
We want to publish it, like the app in the App Store, on the Google Play, or maybe on Steam, or yeah. There are plans. The app is the one coming. I have been coding like these last weeks, solving errors and rebuilding some things. So yeah, we have been busy doing in the app.
I think we have a few questions. So over here.
Yeah, so since I already tried the app, it's amazing, and I was especially impressed by the reconstructions of the sacred areas, temples, and with all these rich iconographies of gods, altars, and so on. I was wondering if eventually you will include also something on the hieroglyphs and the writing that historically have been found,
If they were in a building and if they are physical in the architecture of some place, and we get that data, we put it. Everything we can find.
you can just have.
Yeah, everything we can find. Even random buildings that, for example, in Mexicalcingo, he made some temazcal in the middle of a modern university. Even if it's isolated, we put it. It's a collection of archaeological findings. This project basically, like an archive, but it's a 3D model, not a traditional archive.
There's a question over here.
Yeah, I first have a comment. Well, it's amazing. I think everyone.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
But also, don't sell yourself short. There's a virtual Great Pyramid Complex exhibit traveling the world right now, and it's $75 just for 1 hour play. So you could sell this at a higher level than that. But my question is the materials you're using here and the foliage, the plants. Did you guys make those from scratch? Is that something that's a level of detail that's not immediately appreciable, or is that something you found somewhere? Like, there's beech trees and there's special grass, and that looks like red sandstone. So did you find that, or did you do that yourself?
We are in a modern gaming technology world, and we are programmers too. So we reuse everything we can find because the goal is to, like I think Newton said, I'm sitting in the shoulders of Galileo. So we use whatever ready resource we have. But for example, some trees are not from Mexico, so we make our own. Like aguajotes, there are no aguajotes in the Unreal Engine Marketplace or Sketchfab. Yeah. We sometimes we use assets from the stores, but they are placeholders. Eventually, we want to make it as authentic as possible, but we want right now a version that you can use. So, yeah, that would be the answer. Huh?
So work in progress, but you have plans.
Yeah, and
Y dile que cuando hicimos los árboles en el Speed Tree fueron millones de polígonos que no podíamos exportar por el peso.
yeah. So sometimes we get the very heavyweight 3D models and can only use them for specific screenshots or something. But we cannot populate the entire basin with that. Only for specific places. What else did you were talking about? You said what?
The beech tree, the
No, before because yeah.
as the joke I was making. Yes, let me explain it. That'll make it more funny, I'm sure. So there is a for Egyptian version of one of these things. There is an exhibit traveling the world right now of Egyptian Great Pyramid, where the experience is being hosted in like 3D studio environments where you get to visit. You have to pay for a ticket for an hour, and you get to wander around these things. I think it's currently in Boston. It was in London when I heard about it, and I think it was created by a Montreal production company. I think it will be in LA at some point in the near future. But the point is, it's a blockbuster event, or blockbuster. It's a show, and it's traveling. It's being produced at high ticket cost. What you guys have done here looks to be as intense an experience as that. So you may have an option to find someone who might be able to help you with that, the money part.
Hopefully, we have thought about that.
It's not my money, I don't have
Yeah.
If they're charging $75.
Yeah.
In
Just
Brit-
stand out in front of the
Someone
like,
like
we have
this.
another one for $25.
Just tag along.
Yeah. In virtual reality, myself, I have experimented with rooms like that. And there are challenges, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, we have thought about that. And yeah, whatever we can publish this in any medium, yeah. For tourism, for education, for cultural diffusion, for researchers, for entertainment, pure entertainment. The medium can be whatever, and things we can't even imagine.
If you guys are indulgent, I have one more question. I wrote this to the previous question. Have you considered selling your assets on the marketplace? Because you created them, they're contextualized, they're unique.
Not yet.
The workflow to give to marketplace the assets is more complicated. They have the specific implementations are for this project need aligerar, ¿cómo se dice?
Lighten?
Really lightweight.
Aligerar el peso. Entonces,
Lightweight.
Oh yeah, like the Sketchfab problem.
other problem is the permissions to replicate the archaeologists' pues objects. Photogrammetry, algunos, always no, algunos.
Well, I don't think pottery could be sold in a marketplace because even a legal thing from the Mexican government. Maybe our interpretation of a pyramid or something, or maybe a colonial building, they could be, but a pre-Hispanic one, no, it's forbidden in Mexico. You can't make money out of the. How do you say patrimonio?
Heritage, the national heritage.
The national heritage. Mm-hmm.
Sure somebody tries.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Sí, pues.
Any other questions?
Well, it's not a question, maybe, one, I just tried it out. I missed the very beginning introduction because I was so immersed in the experience. It's amazing, it's so much fun. I have a lot of questions about the app itself, which maybe I can ask you later, but I know, maybe you already know this grant, the Unreal Engine Epic Mega Grants. Maybe consider applying for that. I know of it because Aftab was pulled into another project through Unreal, through this grant that they're trying to apply for. And it seems like it's a pretty big sum of money. and they're looking for people who are going to create multiplayer experiences, which sounds like that's the direction you want to go in. So maybe that's something to think about since you're already building in Unreal.
Yeah, we have considered that.
Yeah.
There's we have started making an.
A doc with all the grants.
Yeah.
I think we have another question back there.
I had a quick question. I might have missed it, and this is not business advice in any way, but are there intermediary steps to think about some type of public dissemination, either it being like 360 footage, but very short experience. So it's more like a teaser. I think we had discussed somewhere like, oh, like a teaser of a teaser, like a teaser that actually could still be used either in the classroom now in Mexico or in other places, or could help to facilitate further funding. So I'm just trying to like, I mean, this is beautiful, but I want to like preserve the product and release and support that type of grant. But I'm just grand plan, and but I'm just thinking like if there's intermediary public dissemination, so that this is amazing. I want this to be in the world. There are elements of it, so I just want to find kind of creative ways of thinking of supporting this work in different iterations. So I don't know if that's kind of like a suggestion question.
Can you elaborate a little bit more?
I'm thinking kind of spin off, like maybe not the full experience as an app that's a full immersive product, but and I'm presenting after, but like thinking of like teaching modules, so which is a package for classroom environments, and that's like one subset, but it's not the entire world, right? So it's like thinking of other ways of having different imprints of your work, but having it in the world and getting feedback, so then like bring the user into the production process a little bit earlier than
Well, like in video games 25 years ago, the demos were all the rage. Like demos.
I feel like I have a related off of that. Like we and there's an organization called Smart History that makes these YouTube videos, and it's for teaching art history. They have blogs and stuff, and it's all free content. But they did one of their most popular videos is a walkthrough of a virtual environment like this that they talk over and talk about the historical significance. And it was done with Dr. Brody Fisher and his Rome Reborn, for those that know the app model. But he basically like flies through it, and it's on YouTube. It has a ton of views, just in terms of generating interest. Like I'd be happy to like put you in touch with those people if that's because it's these two founders that do it, and then they post these videos, and all the art history people get really excited. But I think this would be very, would lend itself well, where if you could do like a video recording of moving through this experience, and they go back and forth in terms of the oh, this is the historic significance of this, and this is how we created this from this codice, or things like that. Would be could be an interesting, kind of what you're saying, not the full experience, but a little taste of what could be interesting. So,
Could be for example, the mobile app would be something like that, because we aren't putting the 18th century or the 19th century, only the 16th, and even that with that only some places you won't be able to be in any place, only just selected special places. As for a VR application, it would be interesting to think about it. Downsized version, demo. What used to be demos, and they were popular 25 years ago in the gaming community. Yeah, maybe.
They're making a comeback sometimes. Seen some demos there.
Yeah, some things that are cyclical.
Yeah.
I think our time is up, but I hope we can continue with this conversation later.